offended that people call me Mexican and stuff, because I'm not Mexican. I'm not Mexican. My nationalities don't have the same cultures. We speak the same language. We have different dialects. We don't eat the same food. We don't eat the same nothing. Call a Nigerian Ghanaian. Call a Haitian Jamaican. Call a Jamaican a Haitian. Call a Guyanese a Trini. And you tell me how they gonna feel. And not only do y'all don't call me a Mexican, y'all call me a dirty Mexican. So, of course, I'm going to defend myself every single time you guys do it. You're not going to keep erasing my nationality. Never in my life growing up did I ever heard anybody call me a Mexican. So, it's like, well, how the fuck? When I was coming up, y'all wasn't calling me that. But now y'all do call me that.
Wagwan, guys. What's going on? I hope you're doing well. I cannot complain myself. So, the video you just saw was basically Cardi B explaining why she doesn't like when people call her Mexican. 100% I can agree. You know, I really can't see a disagreement in that. Just to be honest, it's like, you know, when you look at it, right, just being 100% real, she said her parents is, I think Trini, mother, she said came out of a black woman, and her father would be Dominican, but she called him black, I believe. So, you know, it's one of those things that it's just, you know, looks could be deceiving. It really is nowadays. You really can't tell. And then if you look at this lady, right, and then you see like how she dresses or whatever, you can see the similarity. I 100% agree with what she's saying, but like that very well could be possible if you would call her, like, you would probably could mistake her to be like Mexican, right? She has some like Latin descent, right? But it's a thing where I guess, you know, it's just one of those things, to tell you the truth, right? And to just make a clear distinction, this dude, I guess she was getting into it with some guy named Ray Monty, and it seemed like he was hating on her. He was trying to draw a comparison. It seemed like it was fueled by a little bit of hateration. I just got to be honest. Seemed like it was a little bit of a reach. He has some type of an audience. I think they had a back and forth, which this continued it. So she basically wanted to like shut down all type of claims and get some I would say some, you know, straightening, I guess, with this. You feel me? So to me, it's just like, and then she jumped in. I think what's her name? Ice Spice. She jumped in, and I feel like she was coming to Cardi defense, right? But it was just one of those situations where Cardi was saying she was hurt, and you could definitely tell that, yes, that was that situation right there was a lose-lose situation. It was no winning in that situation, because obviously she was like clearly hurt, you know, by the claims that he was making. Even though it was like, you could tell that was like, how can I explain it? That was very intentional. It wanted to seem like, oh, you know what? There's really no Dominicans over here where I'm from, and we call everybody Mexican. That's like have some type of Latin descent, just to be, you know what I'm saying, just to be nice. We just everybody Mexican. So, yes, you know, they speak the same language, so could be an honest mistake, right? Could be, very well could be an honest mistake, right? But I think that it was intentional, being like the recognition that Cardi B has gotten, right? I like, just from my like very little knowledge on the situation, I know she's like Trini, but she's Dominican at the same time, so it's always like, you know, it's back and forth with the two cultures. That's kind of like, and she's from New York. You see what I'm saying? So like that's what I get out of all of it. But to get back to the Ice Spice situation, she basically brought some clarification, because she was like, how come nobody calls Ice Spice Mexican, and she named some other people. But basically, Ice Spice, she came back and she was like, no offense, Barty, it's because I have a Dominican parent and a black one. And then, like, you know, with the black heart, crying face, or laughing, or whatever face. And it's like, you know, it's very true to a certain degree. And I get the classifications, and you wanna kind of keep it to a certain level to where it's like, no, this is what I am. Call me this. You feel me? And you know, and some days you may feel this way. Some days you want to display, you know, your Dominican culture, and I get it 100%. It's not a problem for me. You feel me? I just feel like if that was a reach, and obviously she felt a little bit slighted, a little bit hurt by the comments or whatever. I just think that it was a little bit distasteful, to me at least. You know what I'm saying? But it's interesting because it's very interesting, you know, because 100% I'm agreeing with what she's saying, but like, it's interesting because, you know, the way people want to be classified and the way people want to be treated, and it's like, that's an entire segment just within itself, you know. And some things you have to like come to terms, and you have to come to grasp with. And this is like a little piece of reality. And once again, I'm not this Ray Monty dude or whatever. I really, you know, probably most definitely he was reaching. He probably was in the wrong. But it's one of those things like, you know, it's one of those things it's so glaring for the African American community, because the picture that is painted, you know, it just like, I just have to make this example, right, to draw something, not in comparison, but to, you know, in conclusion. You feel me? Because you can only look at it from that lens, right? And then, you know, it's basically what like nationality you want to say that, you know, you're a descendant of, or, you know, what looks best in the light. And but in all honesty, she doesn't have, you know, well, how can you say she's Mexican, right? I mean, besides like, you know, she speaks the language, definitely has some Mexican Spaniard blood, right? Like, you know, I'm just saying, like, right? Like, she probably has that, okay? And in her family, of course, right? Probably, like, most definitely, right? But probably definitely has black, because she said I think her dad or somebody was black, okay? That's how you get the African descent. And then it's the thing, like, it's one of those things, like, you're famous, kind of, you don't want to make a big fuss out of it, but yes, you do at the end of the day. And it's like, how many times, like, come on, you really want to make your stand on something like that? You know, I do agree with what Cardi's saying. That's something that really shouldn't hurt her. Pretty much, it shouldn't. But, you know, you hear it all the time. You know what I'm saying? You hear it all the time, right? I know that is, that's one of those things where, you know, you want to look at some history. Okay, I'm not gonna try to school you guys. I don't want to get into that right now. Okay, I really don't want to get into that and look at, you know, you're gonna have to look at it from a historical reference. That's where you're gonna have to build your own frame of reference and where you want to make your stand at. But to me, just to keep it kind of clean, it's like you always hear those things where, oh, you look mixed, oh, you look this, you know. And she made a statement in the video talking about, like, you don't want to mistake, you know, people for, you know, this and that. And, you know, what people do it all the time. People will say, you know, you look like you're, you know, from this place, or you're this. And and it's completely, not true entirely. It's not true. It's just one of those things that I guess, if you feel strongly about, you have to kind of speak your mind. I think she did the right thing by saying the thing she did. It's one of those conversations that can open up a jar of worms or whatever, but it's a complete reach by this guy, this individual, and it's one of those things where, like, if you don't have no frame of reference, it could definitely jar you to where, like, you're gonna have, like, what I'm saying, it'll stifle you, right? But I mean, it's one of those things where you have to have your own understanding, and you have to create and shape that for self, and you can't let no one else dictate what you, because that's a thing. Okay, and like, I want to keep this very clean. That's a thing. And I just thought it was an interesting piece where you had this take place. Eyes were on it. Eyes definitely were on this. Maybe something that kind of got lost in the mix, but I thought it was very interesting. I thought it was something that at least I clued in on, and I was like, okay. And it was nice to see, because you it's nice to see this, right? It's nice to see someone have their own frame of reference on things. So a head nod to Cardi standing up basically for what she kind of believed in and the point she was making. This guy, don't want to say nothing bad about him. Obviously, he has a following, and there's people that follow him and like him for what he does. It's just one of those things where you have to, and it gets lost. A lot of times it does get lost, for, what actually is going on. What's the means to an end, and that gets lost, the meaning and reasoning, and like what you're doing this for. It's, it gets lost sometimes, but that's what I got for you guys, man. Peace. I'm out.